ladies and gentlemen. Well, a 41-minute game just about there, but KT ROLSTER come up with the win in the end, and Pawn tops the charts with the Orianna. It was a rough start. EVER8 having that lead, but not making the right moves around the map, not really applying pressure anywhere other than the Baron pit, where they just didn't have an opportunity to take it, and they end up losing the game.
Sorry about the bonus break. We were watching the Kuro 1000 kill video in the stadium, but due to copyright issues, can't play it on the stream, should have it on YouTube in the future. But for now, we will focus on the MVP of Game 1. It was Smeb. He got the Rumble that was denied to Helper by comeback picking up the Elise. And guess what? Smeb's still pretty damn good at Rumble.
Yeah, turns out that he is still very good on that pick. And it now will net himself his 4th MVP win, where he enters into a very big tie for 4th place.
And you know, it's not that easy to win MVPs on Rumble into Kled. So often we've seen Kled flatten Rumbles, get some cathartic moments with the Yordle, but this time it was Smeb's 3rd game and 3rd victory on Rumble for the season. Good equalizer positioning, typified by the final fight that we'll get to soon, and just never really died to Kled in the split push, which was basically his job. Yep, this was a sick equalizer.
Yep, straight down the line. Ella just dies, burned to death by the Leandries and all the other things. So, this is my favorite part, though, is everybody just flashing over the wall. Just screw it, let's all go for the kill.
Then, final spots of the moment here. Game already decided at this point. Chased on, got a couple more kill involvements. It's nice to see Smeb back in form, Achilleos, because he is someone that's going to have to stand up strong as the season goes on. We got 2 telecom wars guaranteed, and, you know, we could see another telecom war in the final, Achilleos. That is probably what you'd expect, even when Samsung has had a very good summer so far.
It is very well possible. But yeah, like you said, I mean, Smeb was actually one of the most concerning members of KT at the start of the split. It was like, okay, well, Pawn actually looks better, but Smeb is looking considerably worse. But this was definitely a return to form for Smeb. Gets that ultra comfort. We'll see if he can continue it here in game number 2. See if KT can just close this out rather easily, or if EVER8 will be able to give them a run for their money. Because even if they don't pick up a map win here, if they can just take it long, again, gain that early advantage, it's still a step in the right direction for EVER8 winners.
You'd hope so. You'd hope so, because EVER8 winners looked very good against Samsung, and yet they will have another honorable loss in that series, maybe another one here today. And we talked about Kongdu Monster and previous teams in the same way, but it only matters if you can translate what was good against a top team into a match-winning strategy against other teams. So we're learning about EVER8. They should be pretty happy on balance of Game 1, even if they weren't able to translate their lead, as is predictable in a bottom-of-the-table versus top-of-the-table clash. Loading into Game 2, KT's on the blue side, so their flexibility goes through the roof, but they will ban, interestingly, the Elise on blue side.
Yep. Syndra taken away as well. Just want to keep that one away from Septid. 2-0. Zach banned away by EVER8. So on the red side, likely just going to be banning the things that you'd expect. But maybe we will see a ban on that Rumble, because otherwise KT, maybe they just first pick it again.
Feels like EVER8 are trying to hide Dior with the Caitlyn bans. Caitlyn's actually the only unsuccessful champion that Deft has played this season. Of course, is a great Caitlyn player. That's not in doubt, but I think it's more about papering over Duel's champion pool, because it's Caitlyn and Ashe, and then from there, not really much to speak about when it comes to effective picks. Gragas banned on blue side, so this is on blue and red, targeting comeback, and also Helper to some degree with the Gragas bans.
Well, the Galio is going to be the final one here from EVER8, so Rumble is available if KT want to snatch this one up themselves, but given Smeb's performance there in Game 1, even if he gives over that Rumble, I think that he'd be more than jazzed up to go ahead and enter into a counter matchup. Maybe bring out the Kled, just go for the opposite mirror match like we saw him do versus Huni in 2015, time and time again. Just go back, play the other side of it, and still beat your opponent. But for now, it's going to be nice and ambiguous with the Karma.
And that does mean they pass away with the first big Smeb, that in another game that perhaps was of higher stakes they would have reached for. Pawn has played it in the mid lane, Mata can certainly play it in support. Maybe it's time to get the training wheels on and work out some other matchups here. I think if you're a Helper, you have to snap up the Rumble. It's such comfort for the side of EVER8 and Helper in particular, but for now, getting comfort in other places. Comebacks on the map. Nidalee is going to be considered. It's Ella in support, so it's not going to be comebacks Thresh this time, unless we see a very interesting role swap.
That would be an intriguing one, but now he's playing around with the idea of the Lee Sin. There was a little bit of this thrown into his solo queue, but it was very much dominated by the Nidalee coming through. But maybe thinking a bit better of it, they will take away the Xayah, which Deft played rather well in the later stages of that first game.
And Xayah was blind picked when Caitlyn was banned, so similar priority being placed from the side of Duel. Plenty of champions, including that ever-present Varus available for Deft, so certainly no champion pool concerns there. What did KT want to show us? Will it just be the Rumble draft? The Kha'Zix would be a start and a kind of a nod in that direction. The score is going to be one who's going to say, okay, I'm going to stick on the same champion. I don't want to show anything new. It's always two schools of thought when you have a big match on the horizon. You can try not to show anything new, and you can also mix it up and put doubt into the minds of SKT. As already one excellent game from Mada on the Rakan. Could still see it this game, but switching over to Kog'Maw into Xayah. Very interesting here. It's taking a late game carry into a late game carry. We'll learn a bit more about the laning matchup and see if it's something comfortable you can load in, because we're still learning about Xayah as a pick. A laning dominance, especially without Rakan, is kind of not really there. She's pretty capable in lane without necessarily being able to dominate lane.
He's hit the multi-items point.
And Deft has always been on the Kog'Maw side of the hyper carries. It was all about Kog'Maw and Jinx. No sign of the Jinx. Kog'Maw this time, and great spot for the Lee Sin from comeback. Definitely got a couple of tools now to try and deal with the Kog'Maw in team fights.
Yeah, try to isolate him. We'll see how Johnny's going to hold up with that one, but now we enter into the second round of picks, and Talia's going to be the first thing taken off the board. So maybe EVER8 looking for something like the Orianna for themselves, Recepted, even though does not have anywhere near a winning record with it.
I could definitely still see KT draft the Orianna and go double shields with Kha'Zix and Kog'Maw as the big threats. So Orianna going to be banned away from KT, so they'd want to try and take away safe blind picks. That kind of suggests more, and maybe we'll see the Karma in the mid lane from the side of KT ROLSTER. When you look at the champion pool of Scepted, it's been Orianna, Victor, and Syndra as the big picks, and all of those, barring the Victor, have been accounted for already.
While trying to get rid of that Juggermaul composition, they ban away the Lulu, so they can't flex the Karma into mid and have the wild growth on top of it from the bottom lane. Victor, the final ban away here from the side of KT. And one of the picks that we've been seeing banned out, and actually picked a couple times as of late, is the LeBlanc is still on the table.
Yeah, but Scepted's champion pools and tatters, and like you say, Pawn's one-offs this season have been pretty impressive. Specifically, the LeBlanc looked really good last time he played. Considering between Rumble and Jarvan, and interestingly, Helper will go with the Jarvan for team comp. To see what KT wants to decide about its solo lanes. My first thought, if you have Kog'Maw and the Kha'Zix, was going to be the mid lane Karma for the shield strength. They're playing around with a lot of different ideas here.
Yeah, flipping through. I mean, more than likely going to be looking for that top lane now. So, all right, Braum locked up here for Modest. The Karma will be in the mid lane for Pawn. So, what do they want to take here for Smeb?
I think Shen is an option, but feels bad in the matchup, so maybe something that can push, like the Renekton, might be the smart move. If you go Rumble, you're so brittle that you can kind of be forced down and rushed even through shield, so you need some beef somewhere, and KT have always focused on drafting pushing lanes, so Renekton is a good selection in this case, and also wins the laning matchup against Jarvan, so quite a happy double happenstance there for KT ROLSTER.
All right, well, final pick now, EVER8. Mid lane, playing around with the Cassiopeia potentially here for Scepted. He's in mitigation for Pawn with
Will
the
it finally
shields.
be?
We've been talking this one up, and finally, Papa Smithy, we will have it locked in. The Aurelion Soul for Scepted.
The first Aurelion Soul of summer season. We lost Fly, so we thought maybe we would put paid to all hopes of Aurelion Soul, but Scepted was known for this pick, played it a lot in Challenger, also in the promotions from Challenger. Respected for Jace and Aurelion Soul. We've seen the Jace, first sighting of the Aurelion Soul. I'm hyped to see this because we just don't get to see it in Korea very often.
No, we do not. Haven't seen it at all, as you said so far. And this has been one of the big talking points about Scepted. Loves running this pick into Syndra, but this time going to be playing it into the Karma. And we get to find out, does the hype, is it justified for this Aurelion Sol?
Will be something that lets him pack up and leave lane and make impact. Some of these tricky lane matchups for EVER8. Really interested to see how he plays it. You know, Huhi, of course, from the NALCS, one of those great resident Aurelion Sols, but not a lot of other competition out there to judge Aurelion Sol players on, so fun to see. Not going to have the most backline threat onto Deft, but can boss the mid lane, and Lee Sin and Aurelion Sol as a roaming duo have big gank pressure on the side lanes.
Yeah. Well, a lot of pressure here on Comeback and Helper to get into the back line, get that Kog'Maw isolated and take them out. Let's see if they can do it, see if EVER8 can put a win on the board. Take us to Game 3 as we load in for Game number 2, KT versus EVER8 winners.
Sonic echo, leave no room for doubt. All the shines, bring it back to what it's now.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
There we go. KT fans showing up here today. Like you said, school is out for the summer. So even on a nice Thursday afternoon, it's much easier to make your way over to the Seoul East Stadium.
When you say nice, it's getting pretty sweltering, Achilles, so
I say nice because I know how bad it's going to be, so for now this is nice.
it's a bright Thursday afternoon, so I think staying inside and getting some air conditioning, watching some esports is not the worst decision. There are those fans out of school, feeling good about it. Get some League of Legends on. So we get to see Aurelion Sol have a day out in the sun as well. At least Comeback has attired appropriately. He's on pool party, Lee Sin.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
Even then, I mean, we'll have to take another trip to the water park at some point. Once it gets pretty sweltering out, have a nice day to go cool off.
The two in Korea. You came with us to
Ocean World.
But,
I've not been to Caribbean Bay yet.
I went to Caribbean Bay the year previously, and that was, I think, a little bit better. So I'm excited to get there. The weather's in the right spot.
Yeah.
Sadly, everyone's going to be there.
Yeah,
so
that's
might
true.
have to be a Monday trip to
Be crammed.
Caribbean Bay.
Though we did go to Japan, there's plenty of rain there, so I guess it's like the same thing as a little water park. About the same amount of moisture.
And Alice and I got to talk about the Japan trip a bit yesterday. What were your takeaways from your first trip to Japan, Seth?
Takeaways is in what did I bring back from Japan, or what was my
We
experience
can get
like?
there, but the experience is the more important part, I would say.
I mean, it was great. I had I had kind of like a checklist of things that I wanted to do while I was in Japan, and I was able to accomplish all of them. So it was pretty nice. I mean, the ramen is as delicious as you would expect, though a little bit pricier than I thought, I will say.
So Comeback had a ward on his red buff put down from KT, and yet he's going red to blue. So there is a bit of information here. I think Kha'Zix is pretty aware,
Yeah, he's got
but
the fly away.
Score doesn't opt into just trading blue buffs. He ends up going topside anyway with double ward and loses a blue kind of under his nose. So Score that's not able to read Hachani that well.
Could just be the triple buff coming through, maybe even an early handoff over to Septid, if Comeback is feeling so inclined.
I gotta say, if you are able to hit everything on your checklist in 36 hours, you probably need a better checklist, Achilles.
It was a pretty basic one. I mean, it was a checklist made for a 36-hour trip.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So, you know, arcade, specific games that I wanted to play, food that I wanted to try.
Was it ramen and sushi? I know it was ramen and sushi.
Yeah, you know, it's really good ramen, really good sushi. We were able to get both of those. It was actually, there was way more arcade games that I wanted to try than foods that I wanted to try.
Japanese arcades live up to the hype.
Oh, they really do.
It feels like the heyday of arcades is still alive in Japan, whereas everyone else bought an Xbox 360 onwards and was K.
I mean, being able to go play Mario Kart, you know, against your friends, you know, on network play, that is awesome. The Gundam Pod game, and then my favorite was Sound Voltex, which is a very crazy high-speed rhythm game. Some trading happening in the mid lane.
Playing this very smartly, walking into the circle, but now the exhaust, the turnaround.
Exhaust comes through. He's taking quite a bit of damage. Septid doesn't want to try to flash in for any sort of play. His comeback is wrapping around. Will get spotted, however, the scrying plant coming down there from Mata, who is already roaming his way up towards that mid lane in case he was needed. So Pawn will stay alive for the moment.
Both of them were playing as if they had jungle attention. Neither of them did. We know that Comeback and Ella, the once support duo, now jungle support duo investigating around mid lane. Obviously, Sceptid is happier to take these earlier trades because Aurelion Sol gets back to lane so fast that loses out the least when it comes to being able to take quick trades and force it back.
Yep.
Maybe while Pawn has teleport. Still feeling pretty good, even if your exhaust is down, Sceptid.
It's down a bit, CS. See how much he can pick up here as it's pushed in underneath the turret at the moment, but comes back into lane, has that Dark Seal ready to go. It's going to be the Chalice coming out here from Pawn.
You sound surprised, but this is very much a Kog'Maw comp, so
Yeah.
just about getting the Athene. It's not going to be the Crown school of thought where you just pile on some AP and kill fools in the front line. Very much going to be utility build coming through from Pawn. A lot of those support items do see changes on 7-12, so you might have more supportive item discussion with Ardent Sensor and other changes there.
That sentence connects, but Mana got the Unbreakable, so not going to take too much damage. As they just go ahead and try to keep up in CS. Steph doing a pretty decent job here on the Kog'Maw.
We're still waiting for the first roam mission from Aurelion Sol and Lee Sin, so far denied, but maybe waiting for things like Cataclysm to be available and other pick tools in the side lanes to profit off.
Smeb commanding this top lane at the moment. 15 CS up. Has that Tiamat already set to go, and Helper just trying to drag himself by with the cloth armor and that long sword. So feels bad man so far for the J4.
Big item lead, like you say. Didn't invest into as much regen and Tiamat for the trades, and much happier for the side of Smeb.
Oh, all right. Well, Smeb's doing some work. Comeback's going to roam up here towards the top lane. Can he find any action, though? Scores roaming up towards that Tri-Brush, so maybe they just go ahead and collide. Control Ward will come through. Come back throwing out
Smeb 6 as
that
well.
Sonic Wave, and yes, Smeb's just going to go ahead, dash in, gets the stun onto Helper as he dashes away. Smeb with Slice and Dice back in. Will force the flash from Helper as he leaps in, but now Comeback's going to be the one going down, flashes away, but still falls. Smeb with the Q takes him down.
Yeah, Smeb just owning up the top lane. This time he gets the counter matchup himself and predictably profits off it. Comeback playing with fire. Could have ward jumped out earlier, could have flashed out earlier. Instead, thought he was fine. Good pivot onto the level 4 Lee Sin, take him down. And now suddenly, the item lead that was already there gets even bigger from the side of Smeb.
Yeah, this is going to be dirty. Almost has that Phage ready to go. Can opt in for the Black Cleaver. So it is going to be nothing but a pain train coming out of the top lane from Smeb.
You know that Marin was somewhere at home smiling and nodding when you see a big crocodile run wild in the top lane.
Yes, my son. Do my bidding.
Marin would just stop dying, that'd be helpful.
Yeah. Brother Marin. From time to time. He goes from being the young to the brother, depending on the day.
That's a weird family situation if
Yeah.
he goes from that. From the honorific position to being the brother.
Just 3 times removed. Just keep letting him back in.
Comeback's not going to let himself be in any way diminished. We'll go and steal the red buff, so that is a lot of buffs stolen by Comeback, even if the first kill went against him. He's hunting
Take the
Kha'Zix.
good with the bad.
You do. He's hunting Kha'Zix, but Kha'Zix is level 6, so this may actually be a poor idea.
It's also Rengar's job. Score will be walking over here, sees that his red is gone. And we'll just spot out Comeback. Jumps over the wall towards that Infernal. Mana roaming up to just go ahead and shoo away that Leech Sin even further. And Smeb is crushing Helper, who does not have a flash, but nor does Smeb, so doesn't want to pursue underneath the turret without that.
But Smeb does have SKT Marin Renekton, so
He
you know where he's
does.
going. It's only one direction.
Well, there goes the flag and drag. Helper just going to try to
He's
get
not
himself
done
out
yet.
of here. Well, yeah, he's just going to proxy this one. Thought maybe he was going to slice and dice his way through, but only creates so much distance. He's not Yasuo.
So this could have been Rumble, try to be K. Instead, top lane is just completely dominated by KT. That will never change in this particular game. And if Deft starts winning trades against bot lane, things get really comfortable for the side of KT ROLSTER.
I mean, there's a decent question, actually. The Kog'Maw versus the Xayah, both of them are like, 2-3 item carries. Which one comes out on top?
It's a tough one to evaluate.
Does the root land?
Yeah, that's a factor. The range advantage for the Kog'Maw is there, but the more AoE for the side of the Xayah. Kog'Maw probably will be going for not the Hurricane, for a different particular attack speed Zeal item. So it does feel like maybe Xayah wins that, which is kind of crazy to evaluate. Xayah also has the ultimate to be able to disengage in a way that Kog'Maw doesn't have, but Kog'Maw's laning is surprisingly strong from level 6 onwards, so It's getting painful. And bot lane, top lane is literally just don't
Twice.
even go there.
Twice the amount of CS right now.
You can't even gank this lane. It goes that poorly, so...
It's like, if Smeb has Dominus, he can just 1v2 you.
And he has Dominus.
So, yeah. He can 1v2 you.
I think you need the Dragon and also the Blind Monk top lane to help out. And the moment you send 3 people top lane, you probably lose other stuff on the map. Infernal Drake largely taken because of the amount of pressure that Smeb had over his lane.
Oh, now Score. Pushing up unseen here in this bottom lane. The Blade Caller does connect though, so Duel does go ahead and back off. It seems like Score's just going to go in for the recall. Espada is going to make a nice grand play with that Glacial Fissure.
Jen's toggling vision, but we know there's actually control wards and other deep vision on the red side. Sort of vision that EVER8 were desperate to put down in Game 1 has been easily achieved by how strong Renekton is. Wait and see how many friends they draw in the top lane. If you're wondering about itemization, Sceptid is going to be going for the GLP. Very, very standard on the Aurelion Soul.
Oh, there's going to be a gank in onto Pawn. Throws down the tether. The rest of the team coming through. He gets kicked away from the Voice of Light, but the Cataclysm will finish him off as Helper roamed his way down, but now Smeb looking to find some kills. Dashes straight over into Helper as he flashes away. Takes him down yet again with the help of Score. 2-1. EVER8 do put a kill on the board, but they lose one at the same time.
It's a 1-for-1, and crucially it's Helper. He'll die. CS lead will grow. Deft casually sidesteps the hook there. And he's looking for more.
He's flashing in, just goes ahead, locks up, comeback, takes him down. Score now in a bad spot. Celestial Expansion will kill him on the rotation, so another 1-for-1 there in the mid lane, but Smeb just finding an opportunity and going for it. Unfortunately, Score came along for the ride.
But it exacerbates the problem in the top lane, Achilles. If we toggle over to gold at some point, you'll see it's getting to comical levels between the Renekton and the Jarvan.
I mean, this is my solo queue nightmare.
Yeah, he just can't enter lane. He really cannot enter lane at any point against the Renekton, who naturally wins the matchup. And unlike the Kled, he wins it from the start. And if you compare it to the Kled vs Rumble matchup, comes back very close to the Black Cleaver. He is decked with items, and Helper just wants to wave clear, run the hell away.
As you do.